Hey, what's going on, guys? Bflattened here with a brand new video today. Today we're going to be talking about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and how TemTem improves upon the Pokemon system. Now, I wanted to give a immediate spoiler alert right away and just say that there is going to be spoilers in this video here. So if you're not willing for spoilers, this is the time to X out now. As you can probably tell, there's a trailer playing, so I would navigate away if you're not looking for spoilers. I wanted to talk about a couple of things before I get immediately into the video so that I can strike down some assumptions right away. Comparing genres of games and things that are kind of similar is bad. Improvement is good. The point of this video is to take things that TemTem improves about the Pokemon system so that we can move forward on how to get better, a better system. And I don't think that Pokemon is doing so. I wholeheartedly believe that competition is where consumers win. If there is competition between companies, the only person that's going to walk out a winner is going to be the consumers. So I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, you're a Gen 1er, you just like the old system, you don't like new, you don't like improved. That's not necessarily true. I liked Pokemon all the way up until Gen 4. I feel like Pokemon kind of devolved around Gen 5 and beyond, with the whole gimmick of the 3D system. Gen 5 was good by itself, but I think the 3D system kind of lowered its quality and its caliber a little bit more. And then 6 and beyond, I just could not get a part of. I could not get into it at all. So I feel like there was a lot more heart and soul back in Pokemon's Gen 1 to 4. Another purpose of this video is that mediocrity spawns mediocre products. I've seen a lot of people say things like, to things that would be considered negative. A lot of people would just brush it off and say things like, oh, that's not too bad. That's not the worst that can happen. You know, it sucks, but I like the game because the starter looks cool. And like, I get it. I get you're trying to find like some sort of like light at the end of the tunnel. I get it totally. But like, that's settling for mediocrity. And I think that's how we're continuing on getting mediocre products. And Pokemon is just one of those things where mediocre and mediocrity spawns more mediocrity. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get into the video, shall we? Because I've already talked about 3 minutes on just the intro. Scarlet and Violet disappointments so far. All of this is going to be derived from either the trailers or Centro leaks. So that's why I said if you don't want spoilers, now's the time to run away. Breeding. Breeding is atrocious. I want to talk about that for sure. There's things called picnic eggs instead of like the breeding center. Another confirmed thing is that flame body ability no longer affects eggs. So like if you are looking to hatch eggs in a quick, fast manner, you can't do that anymore because flame body removes it. Egg moves are removed. They are no longer via breeding themselves. It's by Pokemon Picnic, and they are transferred via Pokemon Picnic while using an herb called the Mirror Herb. So they quote-unquote exist, except egg moves aren't via breeding with eggs, if that makes any sense. I think that this takes a backpedal, and I don't think that there's any improvement upon this at all. The only thing that I feel is an improvement is that you can stack up to 10 eggs at once. So if you're looking for chain breeding of any sorts, you can do that because of the stacking up to 10 eggs. However, everything else kind of just throws that out the window and kind of makes it not really an improvement at all. Hold on to that information because I'm going to be talking about breeding in TemTem as soon as we get to the TemTem section. So hang on to that info. Battle animations are lackluster. So there's a new Pokemon here. Again, spoilers. That has a quote-unquote special ultimate ability, and it's exclusive to this Pokemon, and it's really, really cool, and it's supposed to be like this magnificent thing. And this is the video on the special attack that is super duper hyped. Excalibur goes upside down, it moves forward, a foot and a half, and it clashes with the Dunsparce. Um, this looks like a clay animation. I'm sorry to say, there's nothing special about this at all. Um, that was it. That was the special attack. That's it. That's your special animation. I imagine if moves are not special animations, that this is just going to get even worse from here. Taking a look back at Pokemon Stadium, back to the N64, if you saw a Snorlax Mega Kick your opponent, that Snorlax stood up on its two legs, did a drop kick from the top rope, and it made sure that its opponent was down. Those were really cool animations back then, and I don't think there's really been a massive improvement on battle animations since, you know, the side games, Pokemon Stadium being one of them. Designs are below par. Let's go ahead and go back to this trailer for a second and take a look at some of the designs. 208 was especially a big one for me because this is going to be our evil organization. We're talking about that in just a second. What are these boots from Wish.com doing on our new evil our new evil organization? What are they doing here? These look like all the Wish.com advertisements I've had in the past 6 months combined into one. I get that they're supposed to be like boots that are like, you know, for motorcycles, for the Bakugan legendaries or whatever, but seriously, come on. You're not threatening looking like that. Where's our Gary Oak? Where's our Paul from like Sinnoh? Like someone with some actual metal, you know? There's Belly Bolt here. I've described this on stream that Belly Bolt looks like someone had a bad acid trip and then they went to Microsoft Paint and that was the results. A lot of the starters have been getting a lot of flack as well. A lot of people have actually told me that they're just going to stick with their second starter, the second starter animation, or second starter design, sorry. And that some people are actually just releasing their starter. A lot of people don't like the third designs, and a lot of those kind of just, you know, leak on over to our new Gen 9 decks. Speaking of the evil organization, it seems like evil organization is an outplayed kind of like story concept, and I understand that. But seriously, if we're talking about like improvements, Team Yell and Sword and Shield, the cheerleader kind of system, or whatever this person is, I don't think that is an improvement over an outplayed system such as the evil organization. Open world. They talked about open world. You can go from, you know, the first gym down to the sixth gym. However, that is railroaded. You can take your gym 2 Pokemon and you can go down to the 8th gym, but let me know how your level 20 Pokemon are going to do versus the level 60s. Just let me know about that. I don't think it's advised. That's a railroaded concept. Co-op also feels very railroaded as well. It seems very limited into what you can actually do in co-op. And also, if you and your buddy encounter a shiny Pokemon, your buddy or random that you team up with can either A, catch the shiny, or B, kill the shiny and fuck you over. So if you're a shiny hunter, co-op is probably not for you. DLC is confirmed for Scarlet and Violet at some point. I know that's both a good and, to me, bad thing. The good thing is that there's going to be content updates for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. However, a lot of that is probably going to be previously removed features coming in at the cost of whatever the price is going to be. Kind of like Sword and Shield. There was a lot of things that were removed and they were later sold back to the fan base as DLC concept. That's all I really have for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet so far. The game isn't even out yet, and this is just by like a couple of posts from Central Leaks and also like one trailer and a couple of screenshots. So if I could talk about 10 minutes on that, and that's also a summarized version. I'm not looking forward to Scarlet and Violet, and I'm not even playing the game. We're going to go over into TemTem, and we're going to go ahead and talk about TemTem in just a short minute. Alright, and now let's go ahead and talk about TemTem. So the first thing that I talked about in Pokemon was breeding. Let's go ahead and talk about TemTem's breeding system. So here we are in the breeding center. You have two vendors here. You have one person who sells you strands. Strands are to guarantee and lock in stats when you're breeding. And this guy is a person that you drop your Tems off with. You can also do two, so you can do two sets of breeds, so that you can speed up your time in order to do all of your breeding projects. Another cool system about TemTem is that there are missions that you can do that allows you to not only see a timer for how long it takes for you to hatch a Tem, but there's also a incubator backpack, not a Tem that has an ability like Flame Body, but there's a backpack that you can wear in order to cut the time in half so that you can breed your Tems a lot faster. The walking system is outdated, so you don't have to do any walking. What you can do is you can put your eggs inside your party, log out of the game, and when you come back into the game, those eggs will hatch. That's right, you can log out of the game and hatch your eggs at the same time. Huge. There is a fertility system in the game. So these leaves here, when they are lit up, that means it has fertility. If it is out of leaves, it means it can no longer breed. So in Pokemon, you get your 6IV Japanese Ditto that you buy on whatever site for $4, and you get it traded to you, the hacked version, and you breed that with whatever Pokemon you want, infinite and a million times, and you get a million of those eggs. You shiny hunt with it, you build a team off of it, you trade it to everybody, and that just really, like, it's fast, I get it, but like, it kills the economy, you know? There's nothing special about that. The fertility system, making it limited to breeding, makes it so that there is some RNG with breeding, but also some skill in breeding too. There is egg moves as well, like we talked about in Pokemon. So if you have an egg move, there are some make or break egg moves in the game for some Tems. Like Hedgine, for example, is the Hedgehog. It has a egg move called Hellfire, and I would argue that Hellfire is essential on Hedgine as an egg move. You can see by the little egg right by its move there. Also, if you forget an egg move, like say for example, I don't want Hellfire here, and I put Fire Flame on, you can always remember Hellfire because you've bred it onto that Tem previously. So it'll always be there in that system. You don't have to see a move relearner. It'll always be there for you to just put it on whenever the hell you want. So that is a huge improvement, I think, as well. Battle animations in the battle system. We talked about battle animations. We showed one animation from Pokemon. Let me show you what a special animation move looks like in the battle system of TemTem, and also talk about that a little bit further. As you can see, it is a double battle system, and they have no power points, PP. They have a stamina system. So here underneath you have stamina. Here by your moves you have how much stamina it costs to use that move. If you run out of stamina, you overexert, you take some damage, you can't move on the next turn. The next turn after that, you can move, and the normal stamina system takes over from there. This allows for more strategy. This allows for the fact that you can't use Hyper Beam 100 times in a row and not get punished for it, besides losing a turn for it. It makes it so that you can align your second Tem a little bit better, because it has something called synergies. If I use this move with a wind ally, I increase my damage, and also the enemies get cold, which brings us on over to our RNG aspect. RNG moves in Pokemon is like freezing, flinching, paralysis by 10%. Have you ever lost a Pokemon battle because of that? That doesn't happen in TemTem. No such thing as RNG in there. Everything that you do is on purpose because you set it up to do that. If you want to freeze your enemies, you can freeze your enemies, but you have to set up the scenario in order to freeze your enemies. And it allows it for your opponent to potentially counter that by either switching or putting some fire on their own Tems so that they can thaw out faster. It allows for a much more chess match rather than a checkers match, is basically how I compare it. Let's go ahead and show what a special animation is on my Oshiara here. There is many Tems that have this. There's some special abilities, the starters all have them. There's some other specialized Tem that also have it. So let's use Serbatio's Wrath. Take a look back in the video where I showed you the animation of the Pokemon animation. And now go ahead and take a look at this special animation. and tell me if you see a difference. Pretty cool, I would say. That is a very, very, very cool special animation attack. There's a lot in the game that are like that, but that is just one of many. Let's go ahead and talk about designs. Tem designs, Luma designs, world designs. The world is very brightly colored. The world is very alive, it feels like. You could feel the breeze that's coming in here just as an idle animation. You have a Tem that follows you in First and Party, which has been kind of a back and forth system in Pokemon the last few years. Sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't. The designs I feel like are pretty unique. They are, it seems, based off animals in some sort, but unlike things like Sword and Shield or even I guess new gen Pokemon, there's not like Tems that will be like based on your car keys, like Klefki or Ice Cream back in Gen 5. There's an actual like purpose behind the design. Like this is a husky dog, but the husky dog has two different colored eyes like most huskies do, and it's cool as hell. It has traits that are sort of designed around what the what the design of the Tem is. Snowstorm, huskies like cold. It kind of makes sense. Every single Tem is pretty unique in what they do, and there's also a pretty unique background behind them. Garrander, the sewer monster, big crocodile, things like that. Luma designs are also quite special too, I think, because the Luma designs in the game are pretty unique, I would say. If there's an improvement that TemTem can take for Luma designs, it's that blacks, purples, and blues don't have to be put on every single Tem to make them look cool. But there's some really, really, really cool designs, for example. I'll go ahead and show you what happens when a Luma spawns into battle, for example, and if you see one. My Umishi here, normally it is a plain blue color. When I throw out my non-blue Umishi, it has a big glow around it, it shines, it sparkles, it's glowy, it's animated, it's quite nice. It's a really nice red color for Umishi as well. I like the gold like trim that they do around some Tems. They do have a really nice gold trim like that. Auction house. So if you want to do some trading in the game, you can either do it via directly or you could do it via a system called the auction house system. Now the auction house, you can specify exactly what you're looking for. You can either bid on it, depending on how much time is left over, or you can just buy it outright, depending if the person sets it up for a buyout right away. The auction house is a pretty unique system where you can get things like pretty much on demand as quickly as possible so that you don't have to wait. It's not randomized either. So like the Wonder Trade system is kind of outdated, but it has been removed for a while. But Wonder Trade was a randomized system, and it was always kind of spotty, and you never knew if things were hacked or not. With TemTem always being online, you know that things aren't hacked. Let's talk about Lumas one more time and like the hacked system. When you get things randomly traded to you in Pokemon, you don't know if it's hacked or legit, especially if it's a shiny lock, especially if it's you know, a hacked raid, for example. That's kind of new gen Pokemon, is if it's in a hacked raid or not, or if it was like a I don't know how to really describe it, but a dashboarded raid where like it always spawns shiny every single time. You don't really know if that's the thing. There's also the fact that if you catch a shiny yourself, there's a potential that it is 0 IV, it is garbage everywhere. Lumas in TemTem are never inherently bad. So if you see a Luma, it'll always come with 3 guaranteed perfect stats, so it's never always going to be inherently garbage. The rest of the stats are going to be randomly rolled between 1 to 50, and there was even a system that made it so that speed will always spawn at 25 minimum SVs. So that is also a really cool system. Here's the auction house that I was talking about earlier. You can buy out Tems, or you can bid on Tems depending on how much time is left on them. You can filter for exactly what you're looking for: the name, egg, Luma, gender, fertility, whatever you want. It is all right in front of you, and that's how you can do it. You can sell stuff for new auction in this section, and that's pretty much the auction house in a nutshell. TemTem has weekly updates. Normally you have to wait 6 months, 8 months, a year for an update from Pokemon. Sometimes you never get it. TemTem has weekly updates where everything resets every single Monday morning. This includes Park, which is kind of like the Safari Zone that highlights 2 different Tems every single week. And those 2 Tems will either have increased stats with higher egg techniques for you breeders out there, or it has a higher chance of being shiny for you shiny hunters out there. And it'll always change those 2 Tems that it highlights every single week. There's layers, so it's kind of like Dynamax raids in a way. 3 to 5 player content, but you don't battle the mythical Tem at the end in groups. You do it one-on-one. Free Tem, if you release Tems every single week, you get rewarded for it. You get money, you get feathers, an alternate currency, and you get even additional rewards for it as well. This happens every single week, along with patches that happen every couple of months that will include additional things. Speaking of patch, TemTem does have one on December 5 that's going to shake up the PvP meta, which is actually very easy to get into if you would like to. You just click on competitive, you do your 10 placement matches, you get a TMR, which is your rank, find match to randomly match with someone. If breeding's a little bit too difficult for you, totally fine. Everything scales up in normal ladder, doesn't scale everywhere else. You can rematch the dojo leaders every single week, and they bring on their real team and also a counter team in a PvP styled format. In new Pokemon, you can't do that. You can face other gym leaders, is what it was described as, but you can't rematch the Elite Four or rematch the quote-unquote champion like you could previously. It has to be all randomized. Sometimes you might face them, sometimes you might not, and that system just got completely removed. There is a lot of QOL, like I was mentioning there. There's things like mounts. I can't run my mount inside the auction house, but there are different customized mounts. There's mount quests. There's purchasable mounts. It's whatever you really fancy. Mounts have a unique aspect where if you do the one that I'm writing right now, if you do that quest, you can whatchamacallit, you can avoid wild Tems. So if you don't want to run into a wild Tem, you can just ride your Minox and you won't see a wild Tem. Helps for radars, which is another endgame system to shiny hunt, and it also just improves just general movement as well. There's different styles of chats, trade, groups, looking for groups, global. There's a lot of QOL, and I can keep on talking about TemTem for hours, but I've already passed the 10-minute mark on this, so I don't want to keep on going too much further on this. TemTem is a really expanded game, and it's by an indie dev, and there's like, I want to guess, less than 20 people working on this game, and it is amazing, and it is keep on getting updated and things like that. We gotta remember that Pokemon is the largest grossing media franchise in the world. This includes games, anime, movies, merchandise, whatever have you. Pokemon as a franchise is the largest money-making media franchise in the world. If an indie dev is able to improve upon the system they made and styled upon 25 years ago, money is not the problem and issue at hand. It's dedication and passion. And if I keep on seeing things like, oh, it's okay if this feature is removed because this Pokemon looks cool. It's people just simply settling for mediocrity, and it's kind of sad to see a powerhouse franchise go into the direction of mediocrity because there's not really a lot of constructive criticism that's being really presented. It's kind of just telling Pokemon that this is fine, and people will still purchase it regardless, and it's kind of unfortunate. It makes me sad as a longtime Pokemon fan. I'm hoping that we can get some competition. I'm hoping that we can get to a point of improvement. so that we can see Pokemon shine at its true form, and that we don't have to have a point where it's like, oh, we have to sacrifice one thing, but it's okay because this is cool. I hope we get to a point where it's just a global, mutually agreed upon thing that the game is good. And it's really, really sad to see where it is right now. I hope that this was a video that was able to be constructive for everybody. I love Pokemon, don't get me wrong. I want to see it in a better place. And I'm really, really excited for TemTem to see where it takes the places where Scarlet and Violet fall, and where they can improve upon it a little bit further. If you're a Pokemon fan that hasn't given TemTem a try, I would give it an absolute whirl. It is cheaper than Pokemon. You'll probably put more hours into it, and it's a lot of fun too. I hope to see you guys in the next video. My name is Bflattened. I'm signing on out of here. Take care all. Laters.